Hi there, it's Mark here again and welcome to part 3 of my build guide for the Carisma Bulldog Deluxe Builder's Kit, which is on the SCA1E 2.1 spec chassis. We got to the end of parts bag H last time, which was building the gearbox, as you can see here, ready to go. So let's crack on with the build. And the next step is to open up bag I, and step 1 is the servo, fitting the servo to the plastic bracket, which is this part here. So basically aligned the bracket in the same orientation as in the diagram. Get your servo. As you can see, I'm using this 25 kilogram unbranded servo, or actually it's a QX servo, and I've gone ahead and I've centered this up, so make sure you connect this to all your electronics. Get your transmitter in neutral, give it a wiggle around and make sure that goes into the neutral position before you do this. Okay, so what we're going to do is fit it as it shows there, which is with the output of the servo pointing to the front, and that just pops onto there, and there are 4 holes that we've got to get the screw through to. For that you've got 4 3x6 screws, and put the little washer on there, and basically just simply fit the 4 through the servo and into that plastic bracket. Okay, so hopefully you can see the 4 screws are in now, and they are very short, so don't try and torque them up too much because they only go into the plastic at 2 or 3 millimeters. Anyway, but with 4 of them I think it's strong enough to hold that securely. So we just flip this over and we've got to mount on our servo horn. There are 3 to choose from that will fit your servo in the kit, but I'm not going to use these plastic ones because I've got an aluminium hop-up, which is this little beauty here, and this needs to be aligned pointing straight to the left as you look at it now. So get it straight as you can. It won't ever exactly line up to being kind of horizontal like that, but get as close as you can. And this servo output has got a metal output, so I've put a bit of thread lock in there, and it's just a 3x8 screw holds that on. And this servo horn has got the extra security of these little screws that clamp that also onto the servo output, so that's a nice little feature with these servo horns. And that's the end of step I1. For step I2 you're going to need to get your metal chassis rail out. Make sure you get the right one with the arc like this and the 3 holes at the front. Get another 3x8 in the hole at the front here. You also need this bracket here, which is from bag J. I think it's kind of like the front bumper mount. And what I'm going to do is connect this to the front of the rail there with 2 3x8 button head screws. Then we've got to get our servo mount and line up the 3 holes in this with the 3 holes in the chassis rail. Okay, once that one's done up, you need to get the front suspension mount, I think that is, or a shock mount, and it does say on it, I don't know if you'll be able to see in this light, but it does have an F and an L printed onto that bracket, so that's how you know you've got the right one, and that lines up on the 2 holes that are left. And then you've got 2 flathead screws, which are actually countersunk, that are going to go through that bracket, the shock mount, through the rail and into the servo mount. So I'll just get the second screw in the second hole, and that will be the end of step I2. In step I3 we're going to be fitting this plastic part, which is like the central part of the chassis that holds the motor, I think, or the gearbox, and it looks like this. Make sure you've got it the right way around, and then we've got to put the 2 lugs that are sticking out there into the 2 holes that are central on that straight part of the chassis, so like that. Then you want these little plastic brackets. We've got 2 of these, one at the front and the back, that's going to hold that bracket and the upper links. So if we just first put the screw through that hole, then we're going to go into that hole there, just get it started. Then you've got your front upper link, and you want the end that's got the thread in it and the flat end rather than the standard ball, and you want to put the screw into the side that's got the flat on it, so not the straight end but the flat side, and have put some thread lock inside that ball. So just get it lined up with that screw, and I'll go ahead and tighten that up. As we've got it tighter, just need now to make sure that that is aligned like so. I'll just give that a little nip up. So then we'll do exactly the same, get another one of those brackets and pop that through. And it goes through that hole again, which goes into the plastic central part. Get the front upper link, and again what we want to do is get the flat of that end with the thread in it, and we're going to screw into that through the bracket. I don't know if you can see out there, it's a bit fiddly, but yeah, we'll just nip this up. And as it's getting tighter, what we're going to do is get that bracket, and we need to align it correctly, so it needs to be in that position like so. And then for the other end, same again, get your 3x12 screw, put it through that plastic bracket, and we're going to go into that last but one hole, and then get the threaded end of the rear upper link, and with the flat going towards the bracket, and do exactly the same as we did to the front, just nip this one up, and then you just get your slider bracket, and that's going to pop into the plastic pieces there if they're in the right position. And then you've got two of these M2.5 by 14, so they're a bit thinner than the other ones we've been using, the M3s, and you want to screw one into the outside of the holes in those brackets, and then fit the other 3x14 in the same outside hole on the other bracket. And when you've done that, that'll be a step i3 finished. But I've got to say, it really is hard to get these little screws started into the plastic. The holes don't seem to be quite big enough, but if you apply a bit of pressure, they do go in. On step i4, where we're going to fit the rear shock mount, and we've got this again from bag J, this bracket. Make sure you get it in this orientation. There's the two holes at the rear of the chassis, and there is a lug that's going to go and fit through the one hole. You might just be able to see there, and then it's a 3x8 screw just goes in the hole at the back and holds that bracket on. So with that attached, then you want this kind of cross bracket, and you want it in this alignment with the kind of lugs pointed upwards. And then you want your left rear, again there's an L and an R printed on there, so that's your left rear shock mount. And again, this is going to kind of go onto those two holes there, and it's going to hold this bracket. Again, a bit fiddly, so get your countersunk 3x10, pop that through, and then get the cross bracket and screw that 3x10 into the hole in the end. As I said, it's a bit fiddly, but get this one done up, and obviously it's the second 3x10 countersunk goes in the second hole, and again screws into that cross bracket. And with that attached, it's simply this flat bracket. It's got kind of the two slots underneath, and they just slot onto those two uprights on the cross bracket, and it's simply held in place again with another two 3x10 countersunks. So with that finished, we're going on to step 5, where we're going to turn the chassis round, and in this step you can see we're going to put on the other side rail, or the other frame rail, which is this. And I'm just going to start off again by clipping it onto that central part, so the two pins stick through the chassis there. Again, you can line up that pin in that end there. And fixing this on is exactly the same as we've already done for the other side. So you've got your rear shock tower is going to go through there, the front shock tower is going to go on there. The only difference being these little clips that are going to go into the holes right next to where you can see those two pins sticking through. So it's going to go over that hole, again with the 3x6 button head screw. And as I said, these two little brackets will be the only difference from the way we fitted everything on the other frame rail. And as you might have noticed, I've put some little ties around the front and rear arms because they would keep flapping around everywhere, getting in the way and get on my nerves. So yeah, I advise you do that as well. It saves a lot of hassle. So I'll just go ahead and fit on the two shock brackets and get all the screws in, and we'll have a look at step 6. Okay then, so that's what it should look like at the end of step 5, and we've got those brackets mounted. And as step 6 is just mounting the front and rear upper links again on those plastic brackets, and then the slider, it's exactly the same as we've already done, so there's no point going over that again. I'll just fit those and we'll move on to the next step, which is I7, fitting the motor and gearbox. And it says note orientation, so with the servo at the front, get your motor and gearbox with the motor pointing to the front again towards the servo, and just fitting those prop shafts, and it should just locate in the bracket in the centre. Yeah, it drops down into this bracket here, and then we've just got to get 2 of these buttonhead screws, 3x18. I had to measure these because they're so close in this bag in terms of length. So that's 1 screw into the hole on the left and the other in the hole on the left beneath it. Okay, so halt. It does say 3x18mm screws to go into here, but I cannot get them in. This one here, I've just stripped the head on this one. There's just not enough plastic to screw into, so I've put my own. You see that one there, that's stainless steel 12mm, and that does the job perfectly. So word of warning, just be careful with those. You might have the same problem as me, you might not, but I'm going with my own 12mm screws in those 2 holes. And thankfully the other 2 screws, the 3x8s that go into this bracket here, 1 in the hole there and 1 in the other side of the bracket here, they go in okay. So yeah, just those 2, and that's the motor and gearbox fitted. In steps I8, 9 and 10, we're going to be fitting the rear axle, connecting up the prop shaft, fitting the lower links and the shocks. As you can see there, I'll just get this out of the way and do that all in one go. Okay, so first thing is get the rear axle, get it in this orientation, and we're going to pop this drive here into the prop shaft, try and line up the holes, get your little grub screw, and you should be able to just pop that in. It is a little bit of a fiddle, but I've got it lined up now, and obviously we just need to nip up this grub screw. And when you've got that done up, you want to get the upper arms, and they've got a slot into the bracket that's on the top of that axle, and then you've got your 3x30 screw, and that's got a thread through the one side. Probably a bit difficult to see this, and then get the other one on the other side of the bracket. Hopefully you can see that, and just get this screw done up, and that's the end of step I8. Then you want to get one of your rear lower links, and we've got to force the ball end into this little slot here, like that, and that's held in place by a 3x16 screw. Goes in there. Next you're going to need one of your shocks and a 3x23 screw, and again a bit fiddly, but we need to align these in the middle of these brackets here. Might be best to get the shock end in first, put the screw through, and then we've got to get that link in the gap. Yep, that is really fiddly to get that screw in there, but yeah, a bit of perseverance, and obviously just nip that up. Then we can just flip this over, and we've got to attach the top of the shock. You'll need this plastic piece, a 3x20 screw, and a washer goes onto that. Put the recessed end of the plastic part into the shock top, and then put that screw through, and it shows in the diagram to screw this into the top hole on the shock mount, like so. Should look somewhat like this when you're finished, and I think the easiest thing to do now is to do exactly the same process but for the other side. So I'll just do that now and show you what it looks like when it's finished. So there you go, that's the rear axle completely fitted. You can see worked quite nicely, everything moves freely. One thing to note though is do not do these screws that hold the tops of the shocks on up really tight. I did that at first and it just clamps the top of the shock and there's no movement. Obviously that restricts the suspension somewhat, so make sure you slacken those off just a tad so there's a little bit of free play in the top. So yeah, that all went quite smoothly. Right, so obviously now we've got to fit the front axle, but because it's the same, you've got to fit the prop shaft onto the driving axle exactly the same with that grub screw. You've got the lower arms that fit into these brackets the same as those, and the same fitment to the front for the shocks and those lower and upper links. There's no point in me going all through it again. You've seen how it goes together, so I'll just do that off camera. I'll be back in a bit. So there we have it, that's the front axle installed. As I said, it's exactly the same as how to fit the rear one, but this is what it looks like, just in case you need a quick glimpse at that. And there's one last thing to do now, which is to fit the steering arm or the steering tie rod. I've already put in a 3x12 screw through that ball end, and we're just going to screw that onto my servo horn. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And yeah, so I think, do you know what? That's pretty much the end of the actual chassis build for me, and I'll show you why. So we've basically come up to the end of step I-14, which was connecting that tie rod, as I said, and now it goes on to fitting the bumpers, and these bumpers are not used in the Bulldog version of the SCA1E. You can see it shows fitting them there, also these rear bumpers I think there, and then it's got fitting the wheels and tyres together. Now I'm not going to do that because I'm going to spray my wheels, so I'm going to start the painting, so I'm not going to put those on. It would have been okay, you know, probably would have been better if I'd have gone to the end of this build guide with the wheels on, but as I say, I'm going to spray them, so I'm not putting them together and then taking them apart again. And then you've got the bespoke Bulldog bumper there, and then you've got the body stiffeners that you need to fit on, and then it's just basically, yeah, starting spraying and cutting out the body. So I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to call this the end of build guide part 3. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found some useful information in there, and obviously, as I always say, I hope you join me on the next one where we'll be doing those wheels and the bodywork. Cheers.